Hello people, back again with another episode of the budget crawler build. Let's get straight into having a look at what's happened since I left you last time. Sorry about the mess. Being tidy is not actually my forte, as it were. Made a few adjustments, moved the link that I'd put in the wrong place last time. I thought it was like a twisted chassis, you know, because these are pretty cheap, these things. Which is why we had some funny alignment, but it wasn't. It was just because I'd missed one of the bolts in the right place. Which is the beauty of editing your videos, because you get to notice what you've done wrong and actually rectify it. And I've had a bit of a tidy up here and there with electrics. So we just chucked them in before, if you remember. But now I've stuck them down in their places, and I've changed the ESC for another one. This is the Horizon Hobby ESC that was originally in my Viterra Ascender. Now I thought that was actually broken, but I managed to fix it. Which means I'm going to be running this on LiPo, which is my original intentions anyway. Yeah. Bit of tidying up on the wiring, so I've routed all these. The excess is sort of tucked and hiding away under there. Might add a few more adjustments on the steering to try and get some more lock out of it. There's more to be done there. So I'm thinking now, what am I going to do bodywork wise? I had thoughts of getting a shell that would fit over this. Now on my Viterra Ascender, for anybody who's familiar with that truck, it's the red one. It's a Chevy Blazer and it's an estate body. And I always wanted a pickup, which is it's all doable on the Viterra even, because you can just make it fit. You know, take the body off, shift stuff around, make it fit. But obviously a pickup has got a high cab and then a low back end, and then you've got all the apparatus that's normally in the back that for the body mounts, and I just didn't want to go changing all that. And when I was thinking about building this truck, before I even decided to go with this chassis, I thought I'm going to build a pickup. And as it turns out, I couldn't run a pickup anyway, because now we've got this cage frame, so you couldn't run that low back end of the pickup anyway. So the pickup truck's out the window. So that was the long version of that short story. So what I think I'm going to do is just lightweight. What you would normally see on these sorts of builds is they have like individual paneling in these areas and have the cage exposed, and that's what I'm going to do. And initially I thought, okay, let's use the checker plate that I used to build the motor mount in the middle. That'll be cool, but I reckon that'll be quite heavy still. I want to keep weight to a minimum, because this cage itself is actually fairly weighty. It's not too bad, but I certainly don't want to put any more weight up top if I can help it. So here's a funky little trick for you. Let's just move this out of the way. I'm going to use one of these. A lot of you probably don't know what it is. Probably a lot of you do know what it is. This is a gauze filter from an extractor fan that you would find over your cooker. Salvaged that, and another one. My mate John had the other one, I had this one. Ran it through a dishwasher, give it a clean out, and you've got some pretty cool lightweight mesh gauze. And there's actually 3 pieces. Haven't had this apart yet. Where's the nips? There's actually 3 pieces in this. Get rid of this framework. Get rid of that. There's actually 3 pieces in here. Oh, 4, look. Oh, and even more than that actually. And they're all sort of different grades. I don't know how well this is going to come out on the camera. So that one's really thin and lightweight. There's really not much to that one at all. That one's a little bit thicker in gauge. Well, that one's got like a texture to it, a weird, it's obviously like creates space between them. That one's very thin as well, but this one has got a bit of body to it. It's a bit thicker, which means that once it's all cleaned and degreased, it'll probably hold paint pretty cool. So let's get the truck back here a second. I'm going to cut out sections of this to go in behind certain areas. So we'll go with what's naturally a window. So there's a window, there's a window, there's a window. It's kind of a sunroofy type affair and a back window. So I'm going to make some templates, probably use some cardboard for each of these sections. Around there, back again, down there, probably down there. Maybe leave that open, I don't know. Bit in here perhaps. Definitely some on this sort of bonnet to try and hide some of the electrics. And I've kind of got a thing for like luminous green. Not like full on illuminous, but I like a green accent, especially with black. I think it's just really striking and out there. So there's the odd things that I own, pair of skates, and on my enduro bike there's like the odd green sort of accent. So I want to go with that on here and on my bike. Love it. So that's the sort of green I'm after on black. So I think that's what we're going to do now. Slap some music on. I'll start cutting some shapes out. Okay. So we've got a few templates here now. Let's pop these in as we go, I think. So there's the side one. It sits in, it's going to locate over that shock mount. It's going to sit there, something like that. This one's going to go over the top. And of course, they're pretty symmetrical, so I just make one of them and then I'll flip it over and use it to cut the next one. But they're just basic. I can trim them in a little bit better when I cut the actual metal sheets. Well, that one's not going to stay there, but that's going to sit there like that. This one's going to go in there like that. Got this one to go in the nose, in there like that. Oh, that was for the back quarter inside of that shock, so that's going to go in there. And then there's this little wing one there. So it kind of connects all the way through there. And obviously that one there like that. I'm going to leave this section open and that section open because I need to be able to get in there to do my switch. Although it's no heartache to lift that up and switch it on and turn it back on, that's what it's there for. But there we go. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 pieces to cut. I don't know when I'm going to get on to doing them. I may go ahead and cut those out now off camera and then come back to you. Got a couple of other things that I've got. So I went to an RC shop the other day who's unfortunately closing down. He was having a closing down sale. And I got some stuff pretty cheap. So check that out. Old Tamiya Lancia body, Lancia shell. It's a hard shell. It was in his little bargain bin for nothing really. It doesn't have the light pods or anything in there. It's got that cowling on there for the spotlights that were. Oh, it's got the lights in the back. But I reckon they could go on a car at some point in the future. I'm thinking Mad Maxi, you know, matte black or whatever, for one of my 110 cars. So that's pretty cool. Got a big 1/8, sort of a non-branded motor with the 5mm spindle. That's going to go in my Hyper 7 conversion. At the moment it's running Hobbywing Max 8 ESC, but it's powering a 1/10 size motor in there, so that's struggling a little bit. So we got the big motor to go in that Hyper 7 steering servo for the crawler, some shock oils, pinion for the motor, some Mod 1, some connectors and another servo which is actually off a TRX4, so probably might put that one in the front of the crawler truck or the rear, that one in the front or the rear of the crawler truck, and then the one that's in there I'm going to pull it apart and turn it into a winch. I did do a winch conversion once before and I did do a video on it, but it wasn't particularly great. Well, I might do another one here. And then check these little beauties out. How cool is that? Now I don't actually have a car for these to go on, but I feel a different project coming on, maybe some kind of drag car. I don't know where or how or what I'll use it for, but this is pretty funky. Or maybe I'll use them on something else, I don't know, but I just couldn't leave them there. I quite fancied them. Hey, that's pretty funky. You got to put them on there and laugh, haven't you? that's that done. There's no rushing things like that. You just got to accept that it's going to take a minute or two, and just potter on, stick some headphones on or whatever. So that's all my sections cut out, 2 of each apart from the nose cone one because there's only 1 of them. But this stuff's, it's actually a little bit flimsier than I anticipated, quite soft. I was originally going to use it to put replace a new grill in the front of my Vitera Ascender, take the original one out and then just put a blank off grill on there, you know, bit sort of redneck style square body truck. We'll see how we go with these. I will spend a bit of time fettling them and making them sit, but the thing that's sort of concerning me mostly is the sharp edges. It's going to get mounted on the inside of the body, but I don't want to lacerate my fingers every time I try and pick the truck up, so we'll see what it goes like. If it's not having it, then I'm keeping my templates, of course, and perhaps I will make them out of that checker plate. It is heavier, but if this is no good, I'm gonna use something to go in there. So there we go. So that's it for this one. Hit the subscribe, the like, and share it, and do whatever you want. And I'll catch you on the next ones. Cheers.